Grimes. Here we go. It's time to go temple building from the inside out. Many of us know that physical and mental health play a direct part in spiritual health, but we may not know how to bring it all together. Well, here's your host, Desiree Fletcher Carruthers, as we go temple building from the inside out.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Are you surprised to see me / hear me, depending on how you are tuning in? I've typically been on Sundays, but Sundays have become difficult. So now we are trying out Wednesdays. So I just want to say thank you to the KPOG crew for being flexible with me. But hey, you know how things can go. So welcome to Temple Building from the Inside Out. I'm Desiree Fletcher Carruthers, and thanks for joining me as always. If you are tuning in on the airwaves or Facebook, glad to have you. Also feel free to check out kpog.org. That's our website where you can listen online as well, or download the KPOG app on your smartphone. Carry us with you everywhere that you go, especially on this bright and beautiful day. And I just have to say, guys, I am so appreciative for today. And if I can have a moment for a true confession, I am appreciative because when I woke up this morning, I was in the mood just to fight anybody. I mean, not literally, but I was just feeling kind of mean and angry. And I think it was just, too much exposure to the news, social media, just some things weighing down on me. But, we all have a choice when we feel that way, when we wake up in those mornings and have that kind of mood of what we want to do. And I chose to have an attitude of gratitude versus ingratitude, and kind of turned my frown upside down and went on with my day. And so I just praise the Lord that I do have so many good things in my life to be thankful for, despite the things that kind of wear on me and or annoy me or get me down, that I know we're constantly bombarded with. So I am grateful to be here. I am grateful to all of you tuning in. And let's just get this party started. So I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I know our Thanksgiving was a little different. It was a little smaller, but we were still able to gather as a family and enjoy each other. And it was just a great time to be with my mom, my brother, my husband, my children. Just really enjoyed the family time that we had together. And so I hope whoever you were able to be with, that you enjoyed your Thanksgiving as well. If you were out on Black Friday, I hope you survived. I hear that Cyber Monday has been one of the biggest that they have had on history. And, I am not surprised. Lots of people shopping there. And one little shopping tip that I want to throw out there. I'm sure most of you have your holiday shopping done, and so maybe this is a little late for you, but birthdays come up, whatever holiday that you buy gifts for your kiddos, this could be a good one. So I want to introduce you all to Kidstir. It's KIDSTIR. Look them up, Kidstir or kidstir.com. Look them up online. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. And this has been a great service that my youngest daughter and our family have truly enjoyed. And basically what it is a program to encourage cooking for kids. And, we talk a lot about obviously nutrition and just different habits that need to be formed. And a lot of us as adults are working on changing our nutrition habits. We have bad habits. We don't eat well and our health shows it. A lot of us don't even know how to cook these days. And so Kidstir is just a great resource that will help our kids. It has helped my kids to develop some of those really good habits early when it comes to foods and experimenting with foods and actually being able to cook. There are so many young adults out there today that have no idea on what they're supposed to do in a kitchen if they can't unwrap it, heat it up, microwave it. Very few, it would appear to me, know how to cook anything from scratch. If it doesn't come from a box or the freezer section, they're not really sure what to do with it. And I think that is a crying shame. So Kidster, what it is it's a subscription. And so every month that you sign up, and they have different options. So it could be a 12-month subscription, a 6-month subscription, or just go month by month. But every month your child receives a new box. And in this little box comes several recipes. With a shopping list. So they get a recipe of what to prepare, and it could be an appetizer, it could be a dessert, it could be a beverage, it could be a main dish, sandwiches, soups, even homemade pizza. I mean, just a wide variety of different foods. And then to accompany each recipe, they have a shopping list, and they always tell parents ahead of time, here's a shopping list that's going to be coming. So, your child's box has been shipped. You can go ahead and buy the groceries ahead of time and then either have them ready, or my suggestion with you is take your child with you to the grocery store and teach them how to shop. Teach them how to pick out produce, what different produce and fruits look like, what's ripe, what's not ripe, what's good, what's not good. Help them to understand what it is that they're looking for in a grocery store, especially in the fruit and vegetable sections of the store. Also where spices are, different things like that. I mean, really start to educate them on what they're doing in a grocery store, and not just throwing packages in a cart, but really understand what to be looking for, how to put foods together, and those sorts of things. And if you don't know how to do that yourself as an adult, then Kidster is going to be a great gift for the both of you. So in addition to the recipes and the shopping list, in each box is also some sort of gift, and it's something that's related to cooking. So it might be an apron, it could be a garlic peeler, a little contraption. You throw your garlic in, rub it around, and it takes the whole of a garlic. It could be a measuring cups, measuring spoons. It could be a grater. I'm just trying to think of some of the things that Trinity has received. Molds to make popsicles, or just different things like that. And it's always fun, exciting, and it's useful. I haven't seen a gadget yet that they've sent that can't be used in the kitchen. I mean, really used. And it's not generally, just some kind of cheap trinket that's gonna break, the minute you put your hands on it. But they're really useful, and we have a very nice collection. And each month, it's a different theme with different recipes. So if you were to sign up for a year subscription, and I think it's around $20 a month or so, maybe 24 or so with shipping. So very reasonable on a monthly basis. You're going to get 4 or 5 new recipes. And so by the end of the year, you're going to have over 40 or 50 recipes, depending on how many come each month, that your child can start a collection and actually cook. And Trinity has fixed at least 2 or 3 different recipes out of each box every month that she gets one, and she has really enjoyed it. And even though it says it's targeted to maybe younger kids that are like 7 or younger, I would say any child who has an interest in cooking, regardless of their age, even into their teens, if they don't know how to cook, it's going to be a lot of fun for them. So, check it out. I mean, good nutrition starts young. So it's not only developing those taste buds and fostering good eating habits, but teaching your kids how to cook well. So as adults, they can continue to feed themselves well, and then when they become parents, feed their children well. So you're just starting a great habit for many generations to come when you teach your kids how to cook and how to cook well and to cook a variety of foods. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think I talked about that much longer than I anticipated that I was going to, but I really think it's just awesome. And no, I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything like that. I am not on the tab for Kidster, but check them out. Kidster, KIDSTIR.com. Great holiday gift. And you don't have to pay for it all up front. You can pay month by month as you go. So it's exciting and it's fun when the box arrives, because it gives the kids something to look forward to when they know that something is coming just for them in the mail. So there you have it. The next thing that I want to talk about is Elderberry and the coronavirus. So, my husband was tested for COVID not that long ago, and the test results came back negative. So, it was all good there. But one of the things that the testing doctor had told him was that he should not take elderberry if he has corona. And I thought, man, that seems kind of odd to me because elderberry, and I'm a fan of elderberry, has always been a staple in my family to help build up the immune system and to prevent illness. And so I was like, wow, I'm really going to have to look into that because why would something that is known or has a reputation for building up your immune system be something that might not be good to take if you have COVID-19? So, is elderberry safe to take if you have the coronavirus? And so to answer that question, and I needed to do my homework so I could answer that for myself, I needed to take a look at a couple different things. I already knew what elderberry was, but I'm not sure if all our listeners do. So we're going to take a look at what is elderberry. And then secondly, the thing that we need to take a look at is a term called a cytokine storm, because that's basically what it's coming down to. I guess there have been some rumblings out there that I hadn't really heard about, but now I am more educated on that elderberry extract may cause a cytokine storm in patients affected by COVID-19. And that storm could be fatal in some individuals. I was like, wow, I did not know that. So what is elderberry and what is a cytokine storm? So let's start with the first question. And elderberry is exactly what it sounds like. It's a berry that grows on a small bush or a small tree, however you want to look at it. And it's a berry that's packed with antioxidants and vitamins. And it's mostly the elderberry extract that has become popular as an aid to help boost your immune system. Now, you may also hear of elderberry syrup, which will have some immune boosting property, but the syrup will have far more ingredients in it. It's probably more sweet, have a few more, spices or what have you in there, where the extract is not going to have all that extra. And so there definitely is a difference between an elderberry extract and elderberry syrup. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. Fun fact, okay, here we go. While we're talking about what an elderberry is, there are about 30 types of elder plants and trees around the world, but it's the European version known as the Sambucus nigra that is the one most closely tied to health and healing. And in fact, the elderberry dates back as far as 400 BC, evidently, and Hippocrates, the father of medicine, called the elder tree his medicine chest. So evidently, the healing and health properties of the elderberry have been known for quite some time. High in vitamin C, the elderberry has also been used as treatment for cold and flu, which are what most people are probably most familiar with, along with constipation, joint and muscle pain, headaches, fever, kidney problems, and stress, among other ailments. And although elderberry has been around for many, 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 many years, studies on the efficacy are few. But the body of research is growing. Many doctors still say it's safe to take elderberry as part of a healthy diet plan that includes foods with vitamin B, B6, and vitamin E. However, if you are pregnant or breastfeeding or considering giving elderberry to a young child, be sure to check with a professional first, all right? So always check with your healthcare provider. So there you have it. So that's elderberry in a nutshell. So now the cytokine storm part of this. What on earth is a cytokine storm? Well, I'll tell you this. It's kind of like a derecho for the immune system. And we've talked a lot about building up immunity here on the show in past months. So the immune system is like a team. all right, if we want to look at it in those terms. So it's a team made up of different specialists, and there are more than a dozen different types of immune cells. Each one is in charge of different aspects of the immune function. So they communicate using molecules called cytokines. There are lots of different cytokines. And and they all work together to form different patterns. So kind of think of it like the alphabet, different letters work together to form different words and phrases. And so that's how all these different cytokines work together as well as part of your immune system. So when we contract a virus, a special set of cytokines are released, and they tell the virus killing cells in our system to swing into action to attack that virus. And in most circumstances, this is how our body wins the battle against a virus. So an increase in cytokines is usually a very good thing. That's what we need to have happen so our body can do what it needs to do what it was designed to do to move that virus out. But if the infection is severe, sometimes the cytokine signal gets stuck. It's almost like it's buffering, and it just keeps spinning and spinning. And the longer that your cytokine signal spins, telling the immune system to swing into action, the bigger that immune response becomes. Okay, so if the immune response becomes out of control, it can cause damage to our own healthy cells, and sometimes on a large and dangerous scale. And this is what's called a cytokine storm. So when you have too much of an immune response, it can become dangerous, all right? And this is what's called the cytokine storm. So now when it comes to the coronavirus, I want to share some thoughts with you from Becky Andrews, who's a doctor of naturopathic medicine, and she pretty much sums it up like this. She says, in the case of COVID-19, when people develop difficulty breathing and fluid buildup, it is due to a cytokine storm. The huge excess of cytokines make the virus-killing cells too aggressive. So the body has sent out virus-killing cells, but they've gone wild and they are out of control. And so they end up damaging lung cells in addition to killing the virus. This can be fatal in some people. Not all people, some people. So just to clarify, the cytokines that can cause this deadly storm are the same cytokines that are essential for us to have an immune response to the virus at all. So the key takeaway here for me, and hopefully for you, is that, some antiviral cytokine signals are good. They're necessary. But way too much of those same cytokine signals, that is bad. All right? So keep that in mind. Some is good. Way too much, bad. All right, now, so how does this relate to the elderberry? Well, the elderberry extract produces a small increase in the exact same antiviral cytokines that we need to fight off things like respiratory viruses. So when we get a respiratory virus, our body does what it needs to do, and it releases those cytokines to alert our immune system to attack the virus and move it out. So when you have COVID-19, the body is doing what it's supposed to do, and elderberry will help it to do its job, but it's doing it on a much elevated level. Okay, so elderberry contains the compounds that have the potential to decrease the ability of virus to infect cells. So that's good. And they're going to trigger the body. It's going to help the body trigger the immune system, which is also good, but it's not good if it happens on a large scale. So that's kind of the quinky-dink of it all. So is elderberry safe or not? It really all depends on the degree of the response, is what it comes down to. So elderberry extract can produce a 2 to 6 times increase in the cytokines. And for the sake of perspective, if you run a marathon, that activity can produce 100-time increase in the same cytokines. A cytokine storm produced by a virus that is severe enough to start causing dangerous respiratory distress is more than 1,000-time increase. So elderberry extract is going to release a 2 to 6 time increase in cytokines. Okay, we got that. If you run a marathon, that same activity can release 100 times. A severe respiratory virus is more like 1,000 time increase. So if you take all this into consideration, the elderberry is not really the problem in the scenario. But with what we're learning about COVID, what we don't know is what is the problem, and that's how will the body react. And that is all going to depend on pre-existing conditions, the health of that individual, some genetic history. I mean, that's just what we don't know. So for the person that is deemed as healthy and not demonstrating any COVID-related symptoms, elderberry is theoretically a safe and effective choice for immune support. Okay? But, and there's a big but here, but once a virus-induced cytokine storm has started, there are health professionals that believe adding elderberry would not be helpful and could add to the already growing cytokine storm as it relates to what's called the interleukin 1b cytokine, or IL-1b, which is a part of the inflammatory, oh my gosh, I couldn't even get that word out. I am so sorry. It's part of the inflammatory reaction to COVID-19 that can result in acute respiratory distress. So COVID is already going to be triggering these cytokines to be released in your body because it's a virus and the body wants to deal with it. So its mere presence is going to release, this IL-1B cytokine. And this also happens to be the cytokine that elderberry also helps to release. So it could aggravate the situation if elderberry is introduced to the body once COVID is contracted. Okay? So what they're recommending is that if you have COVID, you've been diagnosed with COVID, you have the symptoms of COVID, if you were taking elderberry, then you should stop. All right. So I just want to point out that, I was using the phrases that, health professionals believe and that, elderberry could aggravate, because there is no definitive research to support this. All right. Not enough research has been done out there to know for sure if elderberry could contribute negatively to someone who has COVID. But we do know that elderberry does help release the cytokine that is present in COVID. And so with an abundance of caution, they don't want it to aggravate the health response, the immune response that the COVID virus is already putting into swing by being in the body. All right. So, if you like elderberry, you take elderberry, it has been a great help to you and your family in your immune support regimen, then you know what? Just talk to a health professional and check it out. Check it out and see what they have to say. It's just a question that was raised in my family. And so I needed to look into it, but then I also wanted to share this with you. And when you do seek out, knowledge about this, I would just suggest that you also add like an herbalist or a naturopath or a holistic doctor to your list of resources that you vet your questions through. Only because they specialize, right? So I look at it like this. If I had a heart disease, I'm going to want to go to a cardiologist to get support for my disease versus my general practitioner. And it's not that my general practitioner isn't great, but my general practitioner doesn't specialize in cardiac disease, whereas a cardiologist does. So I'm going to go to the specialist versus my, just overall healthcare doctor, and my blood pressure is good. I don't have any coughs. My weight's good. Okay, great. All of that kind of stuff. And, most general practitioners are going to refer you to a specialist when it comes to things that are, that they have a knowledge of, but not an in-depth knowledge. And that's why I recommend that when it comes to more holistic remedies that you're really seeking information on, that you go to a specialist who is taking the deep dive into all of these things and has more of a working and background knowledge of it. And then you're just going to get a more rounded picture on what's what. All right. That's always helpful versus someone just saying, well, don't take it. Well, why shouldn't I take it? And are we really sure that I can't take it, or what are the ins and outs of it? You want to go to a specialist and talk to them about that. Okay. So, in summary, is elderberry safe to take if you have the coronavirus? And I'm talking about if you actively have the virus. Elderberry by itself does not cause cytokine storms. Okay. We've already established that some cytokines we need in order for our body to combat them. So we need to have that. Elderberry does not release enough cytokines, or does not support the release of certain cytokines enough to create a cytokine storm. It's just not going to do that. In otherwise healthy people, elderberry extract should be a safe and effective choice for immune support. So we still have that. Now, in people with underlying health conditions who already have immune imbalances or lung issues, such as autoimmune, COPD, pneumonia, elderberry might not be the best choice, but again, talk to a knowledgeable health professional about that. If you become infected with COVID-19 and develop lung symptoms, health professionals are recommending that you stop taking elderberry for immune support if you have become infected and develop lung symptoms. Contact your health provider. And there are other herbs and nutrients that can be used to optimize and boost your immune function if you are not able to take elderberry, or if you're questioning whether or not you should take elderberry. There are some other options out there, one of which that we're learning more about in my household is frankincense. I've had been using frankincense essential oil in our diffusers in the home for a while, but I wasn't aware of its potential implications for COVID-19. So I just want to share a little something here with you that I pulled from the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine. So another name for frankincense is Boswellia serrata. So that's the technical term, but we're going to go ahead and call it frankincense. It's an herb with significant anti-inflammatory effects. The resin from the trunk and bark of this tree has compounds in it which exhibit an inflammatory pathway driven by an enzyme called 5-LOX. It has a much more complicated name than that, but given the way my enunciation is going today, I'm not even gonna try and go there. And if I can't pronounce it, you're not gonna remember it. So what's the point of it anyway? You can look up 5-LOX, LOX, and get the official term for this enzyme that is in frankincense. So inflammation, which is driven by 5-LOX, can result in painful joints. So I misspoke. 5-LOX is not in frankincense. Frankincense inhibits 5-LOX. All right. Got that straight now. So 5-LOX, this enzyme can leave you with painful joints, in arthritis, in inflammation, and various inflammatory bowel diseases. That does not sound like fun at all. It is also true that frankincense extracts have been studied for asthma and found to improve pulmonary function, reduce asthma attack frequency, and decrease inhaler usage. This would suggest that frankincense, in fact, may be helpful, especially for someone with asthma, as a way to reduce lung inflammation during prevention of COVID. So again, this is a preventative measure. Preclinical studies have shown that frankincense extracts inhibit a broad range of inflammatory cytokines, which suggests that this herb is unlikely to be harmful and may in fact be helpful in someone with mild symptoms of COVID-19 infection. So these are preclinical studies. This is what the early research is showing. And, food for thought. Food for thought. Take it as it applies to your life. Speak with a health professional about that and see if it might be something that could be helpful for you guys in your household, especially if you have a family member like I do that does have asthma and issues with lung inflammation. So you might want to try it out. Plus, it smells kind of good. And it can also be good for acne as well. I'm just saying, just lots of little things there. Just things you don't know that are out there in the natural world that, you've heard of frankincense for a long time in the Bible, but we've never really known what it was for or how it can be applied in today's world. And now you know. So there you have it, folks. It's been good to be with you on this Wednesday. I know I covered a lot very quickly, but hopefully you guys have walked away with more information. If you had any questions about elderberry, what it is it safe for you to take during COVID? And the answer is, as an immune boosting property, it sure is. If you have COVID, you've been diagnosed with it, you'll want to stop taking it and talk to a health professional before you begin taking it again. And that's the long and short. No reason to throw the baby out with the bathwater on that one, but do be cautious and be educated. And until next week, folks, the body is a temple. So let's build it.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Temple Building from the Inside Out, brought to you by the Hazel May Collaboration and Nutrition Coaching, helping you live your healthiest life yet. And remember, the thoughts and viewpoints of this program should not be taken as professional advice. Consult your physician for medical concerns.